I definitely miss the military. I would be the first to tell you, every day I wake up, I miss the military.
A split second can change your life. Staff Sergeant Christian Hughes joined the military right out of high school. The young 18-year-old quickly ended up at the most deployed unit in the Army, the 10th Mountain Division.
I was in high school when 9/11 happened. I wanted to be that guy on the front lines, really involved with going after the people that took the towers down. I remember being in school watching that and just the anger like everybody had. I got to drum in December, and by January my bags were in a Connex and I was headed to Afghanistan. So I was less than 3 months out of basic training and I was already on the ground in the fight in Afghanistan. So it didn't take long before I was there. So it was intense, to say the least.
Overseas for 15 months, this was what he dreamed of. And just a year after returning home, he was on a plane back to Afghanistan, this time fighting a much deadlier war as a non-commissioned officer.
IEDs were the primary method of engagement with us. One of our first major engagements, we lost 6 guys right out of the gate.
And his life changed forever on October 2nd, 2009.
An Afghan police officer who we had been training, who we had been teaching tactics, teaching how to fight for his country and defend his country and rid his country of these terrorists, wasn't on our team like we thought he was. He engaged us at close quarters with an AK-47. I was shot 4 times, twice in each leg. My captain was shot several times. Another one of our guys was shot several times. They both lived, and then we also lost 2 soldiers. They were both shot and killed at that same time. I was bleeding a lot. My leg was mangled. My femur was shattered. I was missing 4.5 inches of femur. It just completely opened my thigh up. So they had to stabilize all that. I was flown to Bagram Air Base, where the hospital is, and basically put into a medical-induced coma. They knocked me out, basically. Flew me to Ramstein, Germany, stabilized me, and then eventually flew me back to Walter Reed, where I spent about the next 1.5 years at Walter Reed. Take for granted being able to walk. It's like a simple task you just do. We do it every day, right? It's a simple task. It's not so simple when you have to retrain your brain, you know, as a young adult to, hey, 1 foot in front of the other, so I have to walk again. But it was just a progression. I went from not being able to get out of a hospital bed to a wheelchair to crutches to a cane to kind of finally being able to walk again, and then thank God eventually able to run.
Christian had to say goodbye to the Army, but found a new way to serve his country. Now a sheriff deputy, his battle buddy is a canine named Lafferty.
It's the best job in the world. Barring being in the military and being back in the infantry, I think it's the best job. As a civilian, it's the best job in the world. I love having the dog. The things we get to do to continue to serve every day is definitely something that I try to live by.
But he can't help but remember those who didn't make it out of Afghanistan.
With everything that happened to me, that was tough, but I think what was probably the hardest thing to deal with is guys didn't come home. I was responsible for these guys. They didn't come home, they didn't make it. So then there's definitely the survivor's guilt. There's the, you know, why them and not me? Why did I survive and they didn't? You know, what could we have done different? But again, you can't Monday morning quarterback something that happens in a split second. So I think the most important thing we can do is to honor their memory, honor their sacrifice, and regardless of what happened overseas, we fought for our country, we did our job, and now we just have to honor them.